I think you'd be forgiven as a West Ham fan for feeling a little bit annoyed that we're not in the FA Cup this weekend or basically any domestic cup competition. Of course, we went out of the Carabao Cup, didn't we, in the quarter-final stage to Liverpool, which was, it still annoys me today, really, that we performed the way we did and sort of set out the way we did for that game. And of course, then we went out of the FA Cup in the third round to Bristol City, which was just a bit of a disaster, really, all round. We got so many injuries from the game. It just wasn't good all round. But I'll tell you what, I don't know about you, but there's sort of that feeling that there's a little bit of a silver lining to it, though, because, I don't know about, I like to watch football, obviously, generally anyway, but when it's like no West Ham playing, in a way, I can just sort of sit back and enjoy it. I don't get sort of stressed or have to worry I can just actually just sit back and think, I'm just going to just watch football for this. And no, it's got no impact on West Ham, which actually is quite refreshing. And also on the other side of it is the fact that we can sort of focus on getting our team fit, getting players back, resting some players that need that rest, and of course, doing our business in the January transfer window. We've seen Calvin Phillips come through the door, which is, to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, brilliant. I'm so pleased with the signing. I really am. I think if we can keep him fit, I think he could be a difference maker. As I put that in the video a little while back in regards to him signing, I just think it's a really shrewd bit of business from West Ham. Of course, though, there are more of the players that we want to bring in. There's some players that are possibly going out. So really, because we're not playing any football at the moment, the majority of our news around West Ham, which is understandable this time of year, being that we're in a transfer window, is about transfers, players coming and going. And there's a fair bit, actually, to talk about. So I thought rather than do sort of separate videos, I wanted to sort of just do a little bit of a general with regards to what's going on. And to be honest, the first bit actually isn't transfer related. I'm going to be honest. I just want to sort of mention that, as I've said about the plus points of not playing, one of them is player fitness. And one key player at the moment that we want to see return from an injury is Lucas Paqueta. So obviously, Paqueta's been away. He's been absent since the first Bristol City game when he went off injured, but when he injured his thigh. To be honest, it feels like a typical West Ham thing. We rushed him back. I don't know what the outcome was in terms of the investigation, because I know the club were looking into it as to really why that decision was made for him to be cleared fit, because he'd been training all week, if you remember, prior to that Bristol City game, and lasted a few minutes, and all of a sudden he's limping off, and he's then been out for a little while. But it appears there's some better news coming out with regarding Paqueta. I don't know the absolute details of it, but the noises are, well, for a fact, he's back in England. He's been away to Spain doing some rehabilitation on his thigh, which is fair enough. And I don't know exactly what the program was that he was working through in terms of trying to get back to fitness, but he is now back in London. So that's a good positive, and his wife actually put up a social media post suggesting that he's really close to returning. Now, I mean, who knows what exactly that means in terms of actually fitness for a Premier League, for Premier League football, but let's be honest, it's a good sign. The fact he's back, and then you're hearing comments like that. So it'd be nice to actually know the actual details of exactly whether he's going to be available. But a few of the accounts now are sort of spreading some noise that he will be available for the Bournemouth game on Thursday night, which is, let's be honest, fantastic news. There's also a little bit of news. We're hoping to reveal a little bit more on this week, and I will do a video on it when it comes a little bit clearer in regards to this investigation surrounding Paqueta. Hopefully, that basically, in a nutshell, it's that they don't believe that they're going to come to the conclusion of their investigation until after the next summer transfer window. So, I mean, if that is the case, right, this is absolute music to West Ham fans, because it means that Man City are not going to be buying him in the summer, because no club will. Who's going to be buying a player that could be well banned for who knows? Could be banned for years. We don't know. So, look, we'll find out a bit more about that before make any more comments on it exactly. But if that is the case, then that is really, really good news. Let's go on to transfers then. Ibrahim Osman is the one that's sort of getting a fair bit of attention, isn't he? This winger that we're after, 19 years old. We've been after him for a little while. We've talked about this channel a fair bit. This is weird, because it appeared to be the one, in my opinion, that was more likely to happen next, the next sort of signing. The talks have been going on for a little while. I think actually originally when we got an update from ex-WHU employee, it was looking it could happen this weekend. Obviously, as I recall this now, it's sort of Sunday evening-ish time. So it doesn't appear that's actually going to be happening at the moment. In fact, it actually appears there's quite a fair bit of confusion surrounding bloody agent fees. I don't know about you, right? These agents seem to be a real pain in the arse, don't they, when it comes to footballers and their careers? I mean, you either seem to get agents that genuinely seem to really help players that have got nothing but the interest of their clients in mind, and you've got these others that just seem to be so greedy that seem to have no other interest other than just going for that pound note. And it appears that we seem to have a bit of a situation like that going on. I mean, look, maybe I'm being a bit harsh there, but that's how it feels. Do you know what I mean? You look back at the Lingard thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, that ship has well sailed now, even for me, who wanted him back a few years ago. But, you look back at that and think, like, who's advising these players? After that loan stint at West Ham, who then went to him, go back to Man United, go back and try and get in the team. You'd have just went, no, get your move to West Ham. This is where you need to be now. This is where your career is. You're doing well. I just sometimes worry about these agents, and it appears for me that from what we're getting the update from X on this Osman situation, is that it's just another one of those agents for me that just are purely out for the money, couldn't give really a shit about their clients and their career prospects. It's just they're after their pound notes, and it's just a bit of a shame. So the update we had is sort of in two sections. So we had the first update, which sounded relatively positive about it. In fact, it was okay. But this is the first bit, right? So it said, we're still chasing the sign of Ibrahim Osman. Negotiations are expected to continue in the weekend with the hope that there will be a conclusion. So you're thinking, excellent. The final fee is still being negotiated with the club, hoping to bring the asking price down. The player is said to be very keen on a move. Now, excellent. These are the things you want to hear. The player wants to move. We're having talks. They're just trying to negotiate the final fees. You're thinking, okay, this is sounding pretty good. My gut feeling was when the updates we were getting was that, as I say, it would be concluded this weekend or very, very early the week this week. But it now appears there's a few snags into this, and it appears to be, as I've said, agent issues and their cut of the deal. So this is the recent update from X. He said there appears to be agent problems on the Osman side with confusion over who should be representing him and how much they are demanding, and the deal is now becoming more difficult. Now, that's not to say it's off. It could well be resolved, but it's just frustrating, isn't it? It really is. Look, these things are complex. I get it. It's not like playing FIFA, is it? That you just sort of, put your figure in and then the player's yours. I appreciate there's more to it than that, but it is frustrating. It is frustrating, especially when it looks a player that has a bright future ahead. I think that's well accepted within the game that this guy is really highly regarded. There's some clubs that are very keen. Got Brighton, I think even Arsenal have been linked that want, and I think there's a concern over the sort of the value. And look, I know people will say, well, then why that West Ham are being mugs here? We're being mugs. I don't think West Ham are being mugs at all. I think when it comes to other clubs, especially when you look at the likes of Arsenal, especially because of the money they've spent recently. They just bought Declan Rice in the summer. They've got to be very careful what they're spending. And if you're looking at spending, I think we're talking 14, 13 million or something like that on this player, which it's not a great deal of money, but if your FFP is quite tight, that it could be quite a fair bit. I mean, let's be honest, this financial fair play is having such a big impact in football now. Every club is really taking notice, so much so that you've got Newcastle United, who are the richest club in the world, theoretically. They really are. They can't spend their bloody money. They can't spend it because of the financial fair play restrictions. And look, it's hard to say whether it's a good thing or not. Ultimately, look, football clubs signed up to this. They created this. They all wanted to agree to it. The problem was no one's really taking it seriously, especially the bigger clubs with money. I think they felt that, what's the worst going to happen? We'll get told off. We'll pay a fine. It's all right. It's worth it. It'll win us the league. It will get us in the Champions League, etc., etc. I think now they're seeing, no. It's not. You're not going to get a slap on the wrist. You're going to be docked points. You could be relegated. And I think clubs are really wary. And really, as much as we've been frustrated sometimes at West Ham over the course of the years, where we probably haven't spent enough at times, and you think, why didn't we go for it? Maybe it's actually it's paid off for us a little bit because we seem to be in quite a strong position when it comes to this financial fair play. Hence why I think we're in a strong position to get Osman. I'm not saying it's off, but at the moment, in regards to that deal, it does seem a little bit. Well, it's a bit of a reach, isn't it, at the moment, because of the situation with this agent. Hopefully it gets resolved because he seems a very good player in terms of the prospects of the future. I don't believe Ibrahim Osman is a player that's going to be dropping straight into the first team if he signed anyway. I really don't. I think this is a player, 19 years old. I think he'll be a player, hopefully be utilised from the bench, and then we'll see how good he really is. This brings me on to Jota, former Celtic player, winger, left winger. I'm going to be honest, this is just my personal opinion, right? I really want him. I really think this would be the player that we should be going, because he's the player that comes straight into the team. He is really impressive from what I've seen of him. I remember him watching a few times at Celtic. I thought was very good, quite exciting. He's one of those players that gets bums off seats, you know what I mean? And that fits in at West Ham. We like that. And you sort of think to yourself, God, if we had someone like that out on the left, right, you've got Paqueta, say, coming more into a central role. You've got Kudus out on the right and Bowen up front. And, you know what I mean? You're sort of thinking, oh, blimey, that's quite exciting. It's the player I really want. It really is. So this is what X has come up with in terms of an update on Jota. It's kind of the fact that West Ham are still very keen. The club will continue to talk regarding Jota. The former Celtic player has a number of clubs interested in him, though. But however, West Ham are still firmly in the mix. I want to see this happen. I really do. This is the one I would rather this over Osman, I'll be honest, at this stage. And that could come and bite me in the arse down the road. But that's how I feel at the moment. Do you know what I mean? I just get the feeling that he would be that sort of player that would come straight in. The only concern, of course, is has he been playing? Because he hasn't been registered by El Etihad, the Saudi Arabian club that he's at the moment. Obviously, he left Celtic to join them. He wasn't registered. I don't get the story. I've tried to sort of understand it. I haven't looked into it deeply, but it's not clear what's actually happened at that club. But he's a very, very talented player, Portuguese, and I want to see him at West Ham. I think that would be a very, very shrewd signing. But understandably, with the fact he's such a talented individual, that there are a fair few clubs after him. But it's one to keep an eye on. Both of them are, really. We've been talked about this. If you remember, we did a video a few weeks ago, or a couple of weeks ago, transfer update, and I said that there was them and a Greek striker that were the ones you wanted to keep an eye on. And so it's still very much the case. I'd love to see both come over the line, but let's just wait and see. Another one that's come back that seems to be picking up again and picking up a bit of pace. So I actually think, as X has said, this is seriously one to keep an eye on, is Trevor Chalobah. I'm going to say his name right. One day, right, I'm going to say that. Before I do this video, I looked at it, I was like, all right, Chalobah. Yeah, Chalobah. I've got it. And every time, Chabola, I always say. Anyway, I'll get it right one day. I will do it. Chelsea defender, Trevor Chalobah, we've been linked with him for quite a while. So X has provided an update, and it actually sounds like it's something that we could be pursuing, I think, before deadline day. I actually think we do need a centre-back, though. Bloody hell, do we need one? And I do as well think this is music to fans' ears a little bit, because there have been some concerns, right, over the Calvin Phillips signing in regards to our defence. Because I think the feeling amongst some quarters, which I do understand it, and actually made me concerned a little bit, is the fact that some people are going, I'll tell you what Moyes is going to do. He's going to keep Souček in the starting 11. He's going to partner him with Calvin Phillips, and they're going to put Alvarez as a centre-back. That for me, that just cannot happen. I don't think it will happen. Personally, I don't think Moyes would do that. Unless, absolutely had to, i.e. we had no Zuma, no Ogbono, and no Mavropanos. I understand then his hands may be tired, but I'm thinking, like, if you had your first 11 available, I do not want to see Edson Alvarez then drop to a centre-back, because it would just disrupt what we've got at the moment. I don't want to see that happen. So the fact that we're linked with Trevor Chalobah, so you get in there, that makes me think, well, actually, that's not the plan at all. He wants to get another defender in, and we need another defender. Our backline is broken, isn't it? And Kurt Zuma looks like he's any moment about to finish. He really does. You've got Mavropanos. The jury's still out on him. It really is. I hate to say it, but the jury does feel like it's out on Mavropanos. And then you've got Angelo Bonner. Don't get me wrong, great servant for the club, and when he's been called upon a couple of times this season, he's been all right. But I'll tell you what, he's too old. You know what I mean? He's 36. You can't just rely on him all the time. We need someone else there. It's pivotal. So this is an update from X, by the way. So he said, we believe that all these loans could therefore make a possible move made for Trevor Chalobah of Chelsea. See, I'm getting there with that name. I'm getting there. There are, of course, concerns he hasn't played for Chelsea's first team for a long while. The player, however, offers a lot of versatility. He can play across the back line, and also he can play in defensive midfield. And he's also 6'4", which is always a preference for Moyes when he looks at players. Chelsea are apparently willing to let the player go now, so West Ham could explore the options of a deal. This is one to keep an eye on as well. So interesting. I really am interested with that one. I got a feeling that'll be a lastminute.com move. Do you know what I mean? Get that feeling. I do think that one could happen. We've been linked with him for a while. And also, don't think that just because you've been linked with someone for a while and you haven't got them, it doesn't mean you're never going to get them. Do you know what I mean? That I think there's a myth that, we're always linked with them. It's lazy journalism. Yeah, I agree that there can be a little bit of that going on, and certainly bloody some websites rely on that shite. Do you know what I mean? They just go through, what happened last year? We'll just regurgitate the old stories. But the fact that these are actually quite credible, of course. I know the fact you've got X talking about it. We are linked with him. But what I'm saying is, don't think, but we linked with him last summer. It won't happen. It won't happen. This really could happen. So, in terms of a defender, I think that's the most likely arrival this January. And let's quickly talk about departures. We've got Said Benrahma. It's got a number of clubs that are keen on him. It remains to be seen if a deal can be concluded. Looks like we might even loan him out. It appears Everton actually are very keen on him. I mean, desperate, aren't they, Everton? They're absolutely desperate. And Benrahma's a half-decent player. I'm sure he wouldn't do a bad job there. He's a player that needs a change, and we need to move him on. It'd be good for all parties. And then there's Pablo Fornals. I want to end it with Pablo Fornals. It's sad. I don't know about you. I love Pablo Fornals. I really love the bloke. Don't get me wrong, not so much as a player at the moment, because of, I think his heart's gone a little bit. I think he wants to move abroad. And he's been coached wrong, in my opinion, at the club, what he's been utilised for. I feel for Pablo, but he's had some great times as well at the club, so it's not all doom and gloom. But he, like Benrahma, he is the epitome of a player that really needs a change. But it's sad that he does, because he's a cult hero. He really has embraced the sort of East End and West Ham, and I just love him. He comes across like such a decent fella, and I'll always be so grateful for that memory of that goal in the semi-final against Alkmaar. You know, that last minute, which just sealed our win. And I just love him. I really do. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a sad day when he goes, and it appears to be getting very close. Real Betis are looking at the most likely destination for him. Of course, he got Emmanuel Pellegrini there, our former manager, as the boss there. I think Pellegrini brought him to West Ham, so he's going to bring him there. So, mate, it's a good match, and you know what it means. He goes back to Spain with his young family, and I'll have nothing but fond memories of Fornals. I know he can be a bit frustrating at times, and he can be, but I'd always think he's always given it for West Ham. He's just a lovely bloke. He really is. He's connected with the fans, and there's something special about him. And he's one of those that once he does retire, I really hope West Ham Way get him on, and I'm sure they will get him on for an interview and hopefully get him to a West Ham Way pre-match event, because he's a real top fella and a lovely bloke. And I'm going to be sad when he goes. I really am, and I think it's edging closer. I think that's going to be concluded, and I think Benrahma will go as well. I want them to go. Even though I've just said that about Fornals. I'd be disappointed if Fornals stays this month. I really would. For him, not just us, for him. Like we need to move him on. We need to go in a different direction now. We need to freshen up our squad, and he needs the move. Like you can see, he's done. Like his time at West Ham is over, and he's ended it well, really. Although let's sort of park this season aside, but you can look back at last season with the cup success. He was a big part of that, of course, and I'm just so pleased for him that he can go away with a winner's medal and some brilliant memories of West Ham, because he's been here a while. 2019 he joined, so he's been here a little while. I appreciate some fans might not feel the same. I don't know how you feel about it, but let me know. Put your comments in. Let me know what you think. Look, we're going to provide some more information. Do you know what? Tomorrow we've got an interview with Blowing Bubbles magazine, which is going to be really good. We're going to go through a few topics, and one big topic, which I really want you to tune into, it's regarding David Moyes and this whole Moyes in, Moyes out thing. Really interesting. I'm looking forward to talking about that. Share my thoughts on that one. And there's going to be a few bits bobs we want to talk about as well. Of course, Calvin Phillips being one, but also some arrivals coming in. And also this week, we'll provide more information. It could even be tomorrow, to be honest, because how big the news could be in terms of Paqueta and the situation surrounding his this investigation regarding betting allegations. So, as I say, from what we're hearing at the moment, and this is just, when I say from what we're hearing, what I'm seeing online, I'm not saying like I've got any inside scoop here, is that it could well be that the investigation will be beyond next summer's transfer window. So look, if that is the case, then blimey, that's big news for West Ham, because that will mean then City are going to go, well, we ain't buying him now. City have got bigger fish to fry, to be honest. I'm not being rude. If I was Paqueta, I wouldn't want to go City. And I know that sounds, I'm going to say that, and I can West Ham. But surely as a part of you, just if you're his agent, I'd say, do you really want to go there, though? Because they could be getting relegated, mate. They've got some serious shit coming up. Do you want to be a part of it? Don't know. Anyway, look, we'll have loads of videos this week. We've got the transfer windows wrapping up, isn't it, on Thursday? Thursday, of course, we've got Bournemouth at home. We'll do a pre-match view on that. Look, if you're not a subscriber, every time I did some analytics, by the way, on this channel. Sorry to keep waffling on. We did some analytics on this channel. I had to provide them for a sponsorship deal that we've got possibly coming up. And I had to look at then who watches the channel and demographics and things like that. And literally pretty much half the people that watch these videos aren't subscribers. Just subscribe. It's free to do so. And then you're part of the journey, part of this beautiful journey that is supporting West Ham. Not always that beautiful, is it? But look, we're in it together, aren't we? And look, if you're not, all I'm saying is, if you're not a subscriber, click on it. It's free to do so, and you enter a competition then to win a free West Ham top. We give one away every month. So we've just done one recently, and we're going to be able to do another video soon on that. So yeah, look forward to this week. It's going to be interesting with the transfer window, and of course, back to action on Thursday night. Come on, you Irons.